Wednesday morning, April 19th, 1995, Oklahoma City. A bright, sunny start to the day. People are heading to work at the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building, a place that houses everything from the Secret Service to a local credit union, and a daycare on the second floor. Inside the credit union, Amy Downs sits at her desk, just 20 feet from the front glass windows. She arrives early every morning simply to talk with her coworkers, relying on them as her core emotional support system. At the exact same time, Eddie Raines is dropping off her two young boys, Chase and Colton, at the building's daycare. Their morning commute is filled with singing the songs her mother taught them. Hundreds settling at their desks, pouring morning coffee, and dropping off toddlers represent a quiet cross-section of American life. Violent terror seems impossible in such a calm, familiar place. At exactly 9:02 a.m., the routine shatters. A massive explosion rips through the air, instantly plunging the bright office space into absolute darkness and deafening chaos. As the smoke clears, the physical scale of the destruction becomes visible. An entire third of the massive concrete building is simply gone, erased in a fraction of a second. In that single moment, the community is torn into two entirely separate worlds. Above ground, a frantic mobilization begins. Below ground, survivors are suddenly buried under tons of concrete, trapped in total darkness. Minutes earlier, the biggest worry was getting to a desk on time. Now, hundreds of lives are suspended in an informationless vacuum, cut off from the outside world. Down in the rubble, Amy Downs realizes she is trapped upside down in her office chair. She is completely immobilized by debris, unable to see anything in the pitch black. She hears a woman screaming, "Jesus, help me," before realizing the sound is her own voice. When she stops yelling, she is met with a suffocating silence. She begins to wonder if everyone else around her is dead, and if she is the only person left alive. On the surface, the silence is replaced by screaming sirens. Medical responders like Melissa Webster are overwhelmed, treating waves of bleeding adults. Suddenly, a terrified toddler is handed to her from the wreckage, shifting the frantic triage to pediatric victims. The trapped victims are forced to endure an agonizing claustrophobic stillness, entirely reliant on the frantic, adrenaline-fueled compassion of the strangers sprinting toward the shattered building to help them. Rescue Chief Mike Shannon walks directly into the ruins. Stepping inside is like walking on ice. The floors are coated in slippery glass, and the shadows are so deep that without a flashlight, a rescuer could step right off the edge of a collapsed floor. Shannon pushes toward the second-floor daycare, only to find it has pancaked onto the ground floor. He sifts through the rubble and finds scattered children's belongings, but no children. Deep in the debris pile, a search team calls out into the darkness, looking for survivors. Amy hears them calling and yells back. A rescuer reaches into the twisted metal and finally grabs her hand. After enduring what felt like an eternity of isolation, that physical touch proves to Amy that she hasn't been forgotten. Salvation is finally here. But at 10:20 a.m., the radios crackle with a devastating update. A potential second bomb has been found inside the building. The order is immediate and absolute. Every rescuer must evacuate the federal building right now. This forces an excruciating dilemma onto the first responders. Firefighters explicitly refuse the order, begging their commanders for just 5 more minutes to free their trapped patients, fully willing to risk their own lives to stay. Chief Shannon climbs down the debris pile to Amy, looking through a crack in the beams to tell her they have to leave. She begs him, "Would you leave your wife like this?" It takes every ounce of his discipline to follow through and physically order his men out into the street. The looming threat of a secondary explosion forces these courageous responders to act completely against their deepest instincts. As they stumble out of the dark building, they have to listen to the cries of the trapped survivors begging them to stay. Alone once again, Amy is enveloped in complete silence. The weight becomes so unbearable that she closes her eyes, trying to force herself to fall asleep, hoping she might pass away quietly without feeling anything. Above ground, the wait ends in tragedy for Eddie Raines. Her brother, a police officer, emerges from the wreckage to deliver the news that her 2 young boys did not survive. Her only solace is the knowledge that they were found together. For the local first responders, the physical exhaustion is eclipsed by the immense emotional heartbreak. They gave everything they had to pull their neighbors from the rubble, bearing the weight of a tragedy they could not prevent. Ultimately, what emerged from the ruins in Oklahoma City was a profound resilience. It lives in the internal fortitude of those who endured the darkness below, and in the unyielding compassion of a community that risked everything to pull them back into the light.